The church centers around the teachings and writings of a supposed prophetess named Ellen G. White, who claimed to receive private revelations and visions from God. So a few things to know about Ellen G. White. She was born Ellen Gould Harmon. She was born in Maine. So she grew up in New England, and it's interesting that all four of the major cults, they all started in either, New England or New York during the 1800s. Ellen G. White is one of the most, if not the most, published woman in American history. But many of her works, later on, it was discovered that many of her works were plagiarized. Her estate has acknowledged this, although they would say the plagiarism is not nearly as bad as the critics claim. So there's some debate about how much she actually plagiarized. So how did they start out? There was a man in the early 1800s named William Miller. He was the leader of the Adventist movement, and he set a date for the return of Jesus, right? Adventists, they're big on the Jesus is coming back at any time. So he set a date in 1943, and when that didn't happen, as of course it's not going to, because no man knows the day or the hour, so if somebody sets a date, you can just bank on the fact that, okay, Jesus is not coming on this date. So when it didn't happen in 1843, you know what he did. He set another date in October 22nd, 1844. Many of his followers, they sold their homes, gave away their possessions, and they went on top of a hill to wait for Jesus to come back. When Jesus didn't come back, that event was known as the Great Disappointment, as you can imagine. So naturally, many of the followers, after that, many people did, okay, forget this, and they left, as you would expect. But around that time, there was a man named Hiram Edson that claimed to receive a vision from God that the 1844 date was actually correct. They just got the details wrong. So it wasn't that Jesus was going to come back on that date. Something really did happen, he said. It was just invisible, so nobody could see it. And that's the same thing the Jehovah's Witnesses did. They predicted the return of Christ. When it didn't happen, they went back and revised it. No, something did happen. It was just invisible. So the Adventists claim that in 1844, they say what happened is that Jesus entered into the heavenly sanctuary to begin what they call the investigative judgment. Now, how do they know that? Again, this was given to this man in a vision, and then that teaching was later picked up by Ellen G. White.